So, hi, ladies, and welcome back. I hope you had a lovely break. Hope you all picked up little kiddies from school now. So, we are back again for the last two sessions. And for this session, we have the founder of Best Beginnings Charity, Alison Baum. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Welcome.
Such a pleasure to be here. Really is.
Thank you. So, really excited to be hosting you today because we have been talking about your charity throughout and leading up to the event and throughout the event, and we are so keen to find out about the work the charity does and the support that you give to families in different stages in parenthood. And I just want to have a short introduction from yourself, and then we get going to talk more about the charity.
Lovely. Oh, thank you. Well, this is such a crazy and special week, actually. Yesterday, as I think probably everyone knows, was International Women's Day, and I actually won quite a big award, which was utterly unexpected, but so gratefully received because it will help shed a light on the work that Best Beginnings does. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that later on in the talk. So my plan is to tell you about the work of Best Beginnings, and also a little bit about the story behind it, what took me as a scientist by background and someone that had worked at the BBC for nearly 10 years, what took me on the journey to set up and run Best Beginnings. And then also I'm going to be talking about things that you, wherever you are in the world, could do to get involved. And actually, for those of you listening, do, because I can keep an eye on the screen. This interface is very clever. I'd love to hear where you are in the world. Just say hello and your name and where you are in the world, because it would be lovely to see that. But before I really get underway, there was something I wanted to say, which is huge thanks to Raimonda and to the whole of the Global Women in Business Summit for choosing Best Beginnings as the charity to benefit from this very special summit that you've organised. As you will all be hearing through my talk, I'm passionate about the power of collaboration to drive change. No individual, no organisation can drive change, but together we can genuinely make a lasting difference for future generations. What I've done is prepared some slides. So the slides are going to be on the main screen, and then I think you get to see me on the side of the screen. And to take you a bit about the journey, a bit of the journey that I've been on these last 10 years, because it's been a real journey, and this is a moment in time as we embark upon our second decade. So I'm going to try now and share the screen. So you have to tell me, wonder if I'm doing this right.
Okay, no worries. Ladies,
technology.
You say Alison says she wants to get to know as many as possible. So do make sure you comment in the comments and let us know. I can hear a little bit of echo sound, if possible. Turn down your volume a little bit, Alison.
Turn down my volume, is that what I should do?
Tiny bit, so we don't get echo sound.
That's cool. Once we're going to crack this, hold on. I need to shut it down. Save. We're going to save it. I'll turn the volume down.
A little bit.
Down to about 70%. How does that sound?
Yeah, perfect.
Is that a bit better for you?
I hope the ladies can hear us.
And try to share the slides. And if we end up ditching the slides, it's fine.
Yeah. I think it's so important to just get to know you as well as the founder, and also learn more about the charity and the work you're doing. It's amazing that you're actually able to join us. Initially, when we chatted, Alison was meant to be away for the days we were hosting the summit. So I'm really thrilled that you're actually able to join us. Yeah, that's absolutely perfect.
So I can see someone from Kent. It's lovely to see someone just down the road. What I love about what this summit's all about is that it is women across the world, and it's people who can watch it now, but also that other people will be watching it later. So I gave the talk a title, focusing on Baby Buddy, which is a real labour of love. It's I'll be telling you about it. It's an app that the charity Best Beginnings has created, but you'll notice as I'm talking that there's sort of a guiding theme across everything, which is the power of collaboration and the importance of kind of evidencing your impact and the importance of being brave and bold and thinking differently about things. So although I'll be talking about Best Beginnings, actually setting up and running a charity in many ways is not dissimilar from setting up and running a for-profit business. So it could be that through me sharing my story and inviting you to get involved in Best Beginnings, there might be some learnings for you all on your own journeys in business.
So we have Vita from Jakarta. Hi, Vita. Lovely.
Hello. Excellent. Welcome. Welcome.
Truly international. We have had ladies from all over the world, so it's really exciting that we're able to do this and share this, anywhere that women are all around the world. So it's exciting.
Totally. So I set up Best Beginnings 10 years ago with the aim of giving every child in the UK the best start. But as you'll hear over the next little while as I'm talking, we are going global. In fact, this week, I've just come back from a 2-day conference in Cyprus, thanks to funding from the European Union to take what we're doing to support mums in Cyprus and translating our work actually into Arabic and to Greek and into Russian and Turkish. So that's really quite exciting. But really the journey started here in the UK, where because of my own journey that I will share with you, I became aware of the shocking inequalities that exist and became determined to work to change that. In our first 10 years, we've actually already reached over 2 million families across the country, and we've created a number of national resources, and we're working now to ensure that they reach as many families as possible. And we are really focused on improving outcomes. We've got this approach called proportionate universalism. I don't know if anyone watching happens to be interested in the world of public health, but basically we create things, resources that are for everybody, but we make sure they're really relevant for the groups, for the families who need the help the most. And everything that we do at Best Beginnings. Oh, we've had one from Namibia. Oh, amazing. We've got Jakarta, Namibia in the UK online. Well, welcome all of you. Our work at Best Beginnings really focuses on what we call the window of opportunity. And it's this period between preconception through to the child's 3rd birthday. And all the evidence tells us that if we can support parents to have the knowledge and confidence to look after their own mental and physical health and the knowledge to maximize their baby's potential, by focusing in this period, we can make a difference, not just to that family in that moment during those 3 years, but actually we'll be setting that child up for life. The difference between being spoken to and being held and understood as a baby can make the difference between arriving at school ready to learn, both because you've got the words, but also the emotional bedrock, or arriving at school and struggling. And so really by focusing on the window of opportunity, we're really working to break cycles of disadvantage. It's about creating virtuous cycles of possibility through empowering and informing parents at this critical time. We're quite unlike other charities. Many charities do what's called service delivery. So actually they're on the ground. For example, they might be running drop-in groups, or they might be a homeless shelter. Really important work that so many charities do. We just happened, when I set up the charity, I took a different approach. And that was the idea of creating national resources, which are now actually becoming international. But we create them nationally, and then we work collaboratively to make them work within an area of the UK or another part of the world. And constantly we're learning, and what I call this iterative cycle. We are evaluating what we're doing, disseminating what we're doing, and tweaking our interventions, the resources that the charity makes. We take an approach that it's about directly informing and empowering parents, and our approach is as well as, not instead of. So we're really lucky in the UK to have very good midwifery care and health visiting care, and yet still there are huge inequalities, as I'm about to share some facts and figures with you. So our approach at Best Beginnings isn't to take away from the work, and to the contrary, it's to support the great work that frontline healthcare professionals do, and also the work of other charities, so that the resources that we create, like our Baby Buddy app, are used by not just midwives and health visitors and doctors, but also by frontline workers from many different charities. And what we're committed to is working collaboratively and constantly learning and updating. Collaboration is the most important principle. I am passionate about it. I've got a hashtag called #Power of Collaboration.
Amazing.
So if you are on Twitter, please tweet power of collaboration. It hasn't quite taken off on Twitter. That's one of the things you'll learn in business, is things don't always have impact straight away, and it could be that the words are just too long or it just resonates with me, but I do keep trying. But people understand the principle, and I'm known for it, and importantly my team, because I've got an incredible team, are known for our collaborative spirit. The whole is always more than the sum of the parts. It's not about only working with other charities, although we do a lot of that. It's not only about working with frontline professionals. It's about working, most importantly, with the parents. They help us co-create everything that we make. We make it in collaboration with parents. They inform the look, the feel, the content, the tone. We also need to make sure that what we make as a charity is quality assured. So I don't know if you guys have heard of this idea of the Google effect. You know, if you have a health worry, you go online and you Google it.
Yeah.
Come up with hundreds of comments and points and ideas, some of which might be right, but some of which might be very wrong. So our approach is to give people access to relevant and reliable information that they can trust. And that's why we're so proud to work with so many of the Royal Colleges and professional bodies, and with government departments. And then really more recently, because the charity's been going 10 years, but in the last couple of years, we've been focusing a bit in the mix of who we work to engage people who are in the public eye, to help amplify what we're doing. We're grounded in working in communities and with families from all backgrounds. And by enabling some people in the public eye to kind of share what we're doing, it just makes more people aware of it. We don't have a marketing budget. You know, we are a small organisation committed to having a big impact, and everyone's got a role to play. And I'm hoping that some of you where you are watching will want to get involved. We are absolutely committed to working with people from all backgrounds, and you'll be hearing later about those of you in the UK. We've got a 10K run coming up. If those of you, some of you might be up for that. And if any of you was really ambitious, we've got 100K that you could take part in. And there's lots of other things as well.
Fantastic.
Why are we bothering? What is it that gets me up in the morning? What is it that gets my team, who works tirelessly, developing projects and working in communities across the country to embed them? Why are we doing this? Well, this screen is just a sample of some of the unacceptable inequalities that exist in the UK. I mean, it is simply not okay that a baby born in Bradford or in Birmingham is 4 times more likely to die in infancy than a baby born in Bath. And whichever measure you look at, there's huge variation. Let's look at smoking for a moment. A baby born in Blackpool is 13 times more likely to be born to a mum who is smoking than a baby born in Westminster, where the Houses of Parliament are, in London.
Yeah. Now
that is not, it's not about blame. A key principle actually is non-judgment. It's about people, all of us are, as human beings, we are who we are, and we know what we know. And we only know what we know because of the family that we come from or the community we live in. And it's very easy for myths to abound. So, for example, a lot of people think that if you smoke in pregnancy, you will have a smaller baby. That's true. You will also have an increased risk of stillbirth and neonatal death. But but the myth bit is that people think that you'll then have an easier birth. So that's what everyone around you is doing, and most of them will have healthy births, because it, you know, even though you won't see or realise the evidence, which is that smoking during pregnancy really does increase your risk of losing your baby. So we take the reality, which is that there's variation, and we work to change it, not by telling anyone what to do, but by informing and empowering, because knowledge is power. So there are particular groups here in the UK where there is who have increased risk of poor outcomes. If we look just for a brief moment at neonatal death, which is just babies dying in the first month of their life, then there are particular high risk groups, particularly mums from Black families, Asian families, and mums living in poverty and teenage mums, and also older mums. If you look at other inequalities, the older mums don't have the same poor outcomes. So in particular, as a charity, we're interested in engaging young mums and mums from a broad, focusing on mums who have disadvantage in their life, and also BME mums. Actively engaging them. So when we make the resources that we make sure that we do focus groups disproportionately with the mums who we're most keen to engage. That said, mums from all backgrounds use our resources. I'll skip over this slide, although it's quite interesting for any of you setting up business to think about the theoretical underpinning of what you're doing, what you're setting about to do and why you're doing it. There are different models that inform my thinking along the journey. The first one, the 8-step process for leading change, actually I came across when I was working at the BBC. So I worked at the BBC for nearly 10 years making science documentaries.
Wow.
And in that period I was involved briefly, most of the time I made films. I only made films and I only worked in the science department. But I worked for one brief period on this internal change programme, and I discovered the work of Cotter, and I saw the parallels between trying to drive change in a huge organisation like the BBC and the challenges that my husband as a paediatrician was having in the NHS. So I'm pulling back before I'm about to bounce forward. So you just saw a baby. Okay, so let's take me to 2000. I was in Australia. I took a brief career break from the BBC. My husband was working at the Children's Hospital out in Sydney, and I was pregnant. I had the time of my life. It was the Sydney Olympics, and I volunteered, drove the British team around. And I had an absolute blast. I became pregnant. I had a very healthy pregnancy, very conscious of health in pregnancy. I'm lucky enough to come from a family of doctors with this incredible support network around me. So where I'm taking you now is the story behind the charity. Yeah, I've told you a bit about what the charity set up to achieve, and now why this woman who was having this fabulous career at the BBC left it all to set up a charity.
Alison, I've got goosebumps already.
So we came back to the UK. We nearly settled in Australia because we love it, but actually family is very important to me. I'm very lucky to have a big support network. We're all, pretty much everyone's a doctor or an academic.
Yeah.
One generation back, my grandpa walked over from Poland and had only had 1 year of education in his life. So I know what a loving home and a good access to education, state education in this instance, kind of enabled for my dad and his brothers and sister. Anyway, my son was born, David. He's now 16, and it's possible he might walk in the middle of this talk. They are due home from school very soon, so if you suddenly hear teenage voices, you must forgive me. But he was born early and he was born poorly, and it was absolutely terrifying. I remember giving birth, natural birth. I was very lucky. I was able just to do the gas and air, which is what I wanted. I wasn't allowed, and we might come back to that later, the idea of not being allowed to have a water birth because he was a bit early. Yeah. And I remember the paediatrician who was there on delivery, which it doesn't normally happen, but when you have a preterm baby, the paediatrician has to come saying, "Congratulations, you've got a happy, healthy baby boy." And I just remember my husband's words saying, "I don't think so. Can you call the registrar?" Because what my husband spotted as a very experienced paediatrician was that something was wrong. So David was born with something called Pierre-Bas. So he had breathing and feeding problems and a massive cleft palate. And it took us 5 weeks and 5 hospitals and so much fighting to get to where we needed to get to, which was Great Ormond Street. And we were incredibly lucky to have the support of kind of a broader network, and also that being brought up in a family when you're taught to ask questions to challenge. But I began thinking how much harder it would have been if I didn't have that support network around me. Anyway, I always wanted to breastfeed. I come from a family where we know the health benefits of breastfeeding, and I'd seen my big sister, again role models, and my sister-in-law breastfeed, and it was always the plan. But when you have a cleft palate baby, it's not so straightforward. He had no roof to his mouth, he couldn't suck. So it was a long journey, and I used to actually give a talk that was called The Bra That Changed My Life. I've not shown this picture for a very long time, but here I am expressing breast milk using the Easy Expression halter neck bra, which I tracked from America, and it allowed me to double pump, hands-free and easy, so he benefit of my breast milk, even though he couldn't suck at all. And then I had a special squeezy bottle so I could squeeze the milk into his mouth. And if you're expressing exclusively, you've got to wake up in the middle of the night to express to maintain your milk supply, because breast milk it's all about supply and demand. The more you take from the breast, the more the breast makes. It's very clever physiologically. And I read my way through all the Harry Potter books. So there I am reading. I don't know which Harry Potter book it is I'm reading then, but Harry Potter holds a very special place in my heart because I went my way through them through the night. Anyway, here is David. This is my 16-year-old who wants to be a doctor, and I have no doubt he's going to be a very good doctor because he's so much healthcare and knows what he's getting into. But here he is just before his cleft palate operation. Now, generally, Pierre Robin babies, when they're born, they are pretty scrawny, or sorry, by the time they get to their operation, they're pretty scrawny because feeding and breathing is very, very difficult. But because I've been giving him all my breast milk, he's looking quite chubby in the chops. He's got his mum's cheeks. And here I am, you can see expressing while also reading him a book. Anyway, he went on from strength to strength. And then 2 years later, I had my number 2, who is Joshua, who was actually just calling me from the station. So again, we might have him walk in the room in a minute. It looks in this photo like this is David and I checking out Joshua's palate, but actually he was just yawning at the moment the photo was taken. And I kind of knew straight away something wasn't right. But again, the doctors were saying it was fine. And it's a very long story to explain, but and I'm trying to compress it because I want to go back to the work of the charity, because really what's happened is my boys are my inspiration. What the journey I've been on because of them and who they are in themselves inspires me every day. But basically Josh did have a cleft palate, but no one believed me because he had the skin layer on the palate but not the muscle behind it. Anyway, we got distracted from the feeding issues because when he was 8 days old, he got diagnosed with meningitis. So he had meningitis as a newborn. So it was a terrifying time and utterly overwhelming. And I struggled. And on that journey, I met so many amazing people and my family were amazing. But it got me to thinking, how much harder would life be if I didn't have the benefit of this support network? What would I have done without my family and without the confidence to challenge and question within the health system when things weren't going right? And that is basically why I set up Best Beginnings, to drive change. So whatever your background, you have the knowledge and confidence to maximize your health and also to do the best you can for your baby. And that's our 3-stage approach to driving change at Best Beginnings. So Baby Buddy is, I don't want to say it's my 3rd child because I've only got my 2 boys, but it is such a labour of love. It is an app that I'm going to tell you about because it's the main way that we now as a charity do our work. It is designed as a public health intervention, but it doesn't feel like that, if that makes sense. And the reason we went for a smartphone app is because so many people use smartphones. If you're looking at under 25s, which is a key target audience, it's more than 96%, and this is data from last year. So it's a very good way of getting evidence-based information out to lots of people. This is a little 1-minute film about Baby Buddy. The sound isn't going to work so well, so I'm not going to play all of it. But while it's playing, if you're online and you haven't yet given a message, I'd love to hear where you are from, or if you've already given a message, tell me a bit about you. I don't know how many mums there are out there, or whether you're all deciding not to or aren't yet that at your stage in life. I'd love to know a little bit about you. But in the meantime, here's a little film to give you a flavour of our Baby Buddy app.
Thank you.
Any questions from any of you guys listening out there?
So amazing. So the ladies can actually use the app to find relevant information. So if something is going wrong in terms of health-wise, so they can just go on an app and type in a question, or how does it work?
So that's part. The key thing is, I guess, it takes you on the whole journey. So hopefully there won't be any problems. Hopefully they'll have a smooth run. So the app supports you currently just through pregnancy till your baby's 6 months old, and you get daily information. And you can also ask it questions and watch any of the 300 films within it, and all of the content, the daily information, all the films, the frequently asked questions are all approved by our endorsing organizations. So and this slide just shows how much work's gone into the creation of the content, with everything being reviewed by the editorial board and our parent panel. So if any of you are in the UK and would like to be involved, it could be, because our next stage is to create the app for dads. So if anyone's got a partner that wants to be involved, but also we're trying to get funding to take the baby buddy to the 3rd birthday. So it's really an iteration. That's the next version.
Is this free for families to use?
Yeah, it's really important to us. So the app is free, and it's also advert free. So that means we have to raise funding for it through donations. So actually, if you're watching and you would like to, you can donate actually through the system, because every donation makes a difference. Actually, £15 allows us to support a mum for a whole year using Baby Buddy, and with more money we can just reach and support more mums. I'll zip through, but I just want to show you, the idea is you get this nugget of knowledge every day. Yeah, this is when your baby's 24 weeks old. You just get some information and you see this. Now, how cool is that? It's not your baby you're seeing, but you're seeing, gosh, at 24 weeks, they really, look how the baby is swallowing and then kicking, it's on a loop. And it shows you, gets your head in the game, especially with young mums. Sometimes they're in denial that they're having a baby. And if you want them to quit smoking, or you're tempted to go drinking, if actually you understand that you've got a baby, but it's also about emotionally getting your head in the game and preparing for pregnancy. This is one of my favorite clips. There's over 300, and there's lots of experts talking and telling you, showing you how to do things. But this one, I don't know if it will work without sound, but this little baby is 7.5 weeks old, and you can see he's having a conversation with his daddy. Okay, now my master's was neuroscience, so I know when I see this, what they call this kind of serve and return between the dad and the baby, that's building. Nerves, mirror neurons are firing, brain development is kind of really being supported, and this will support language development as well.
So interesting.
I love it. I just can't watch this clip enough. Can you hear the baby? He's going, ah. Oh.
He's repeating everything.
Ah.
So cute.
And it's really important for dads to know that they've got a role to play as well. When there is a father, they can really help. The partners can make such a difference. So within Baby Buddy, there's over 300 films, and a lot of those films we'd made before we made Baby Buddy, because in the beginning we made DVDs, but DVDs have now had their day, and app where it's at. So they're all in Baby Buddy, including all the bump to breastfeeding content. And we started with breastfeeding to support women to make choice. It's all about choice, but informed choice, understanding the health benefits, but also having practical support. And also breastfeeding acts as like a safety net against the impact that poverty has on health. So we started with breastfeeding, and the DVDs in lots of languages. The app at the moment is only in English. And we've taken the DVD content and broken it down into bite-sized bits within Baby Buddy, so you can just access it for free within the app. And one of the favourite clips that's watched a lot is the graphic. I made that in a Doctor Who studio, actually, with a breastfeeding expert to show that how positioning and attaching can help your baby feed effectively and make sure you don't get sore as well. We've always commissioned academic evaluations. So our from Bump the Breastfeeding DVD was evaluated by Bournemouth, and based on it, it became part of service as usual. So the Department of Health used to give the DVDs out to every mum until the funding stopped for that in 2010. And as a national resource, we also made Small Wonders, which is for parents of premature and sick babies. So this particular resource is very, very close to my heart because it is the film content that I wish had been available when I've had Joshua and David, but even more so with Josh and his meningitis. And the aim of Small Wonders is to support parents to be at the heart of their baby's care. And we know from an evidence perspective, if mums are more involved, the outcomes are better. So it's not just good emotionally, it's good for baby outcomes. And I won't go into the timeline because it's quite a busy slide, but just to show you that one of these projects doesn't do itself. With Small Wonders, for example, our resource for parents of premature and sick babies, I first wrote a funding application in 2006 and the project didn't launch till 2016. So for those of you who are embarking upon a business or embarking upon a venture, don't be disheartened if things don't happen as quick as you want them to. It took me years to get the funding to get this project underway, but when you're tenacious and you engage people and explain the purpose of what you're doing, you will get there. It will happen, and you've just got to keep going. You just have to think that failure is not an option and keep going until you get the support you need to do what you are set on doing. So like our other resources, Small Wonders was developed in co-creation with parents. We literally had hundreds of parents and professionals informing how many films would be on it, their content, the style, the tone. And we filmed with 14 amazing families across the country who shared their stories when they were having the toughest of times. You can watch wherever you are in the world, all of the films can be watched because we've got the app version, the web app version of Baby Buddy. So although Buddy is an app, as a phone app is only in the UK, you can watch all the Small Wonders films and all the other films on our website. So if you go to bestbeginnings.org.uk, then via there you can, if you type up Baby Buddy online or just Google Baby Buddy online Best Beginnings, and you'll get taken straight into the web version. And you can also watch the mental health films that I'll be talking about soon, because maternal mental health is so important. So giving you a flavour of Small Wonders, we set about to make 3 films. We ended up making 12, and that's because of what parents told us they need. We broke it down into different sections to make it accessible. And parents told us and tell us that the films inform them, reassure them, empower them, and help prepare them on the roller coaster journey of having a premature or sick baby. But most of our work isn't for parents, the 1 in 10 parents who have a particularly tough journey. It's for the other 90%, because parents of whatever your journey transitioning to parenthood can be quite an emotional roller coaster. Small Wonders, by the way, was also evaluated, and we know that it's making a difference where it's being used. So zipping forward, I'm going to go through our charts very quickly, but it's interesting, the journey, because the early funding was harder to secure, but when you've got evidence of impact, when you're committed to collaborating, good things begin to happen. So a couple of years ago, in collaboration with an excellent charity in the UK called SANS, which is for stillbirth and neonatal death, we got funding from the Department of Health and from NHS England to make new films that are featured within Baby Buddy, designed to help you as a mum reduce your chance of your baby dying, or you dying, or you having a preterm or sick baby. So it was a part of a national campaign that we worked on with SANS, and we worked with mums. They came up with the name, Our Chance. We didn't, the mums did. And we filmed with mums across the country to make them. And there's 25 films, and they're now just integrated within the Baby Buddy app. And it's everything from, can I drink in pregnancy? Can I smoke? We film with mums. There's one mum, for example, she had a niece who quit smoking, and she explains why. If you know anyone that's pregnant, wherever they are in the world, I would love your feedback on these and the other films that are available on the Baby Buddy website.
Alison, I think we should all encourage some of the ladies to share this with anyone that if you know who's pregnant or sort of at the early stage of conceiving a child, I think it's so important to have this advice and just to avoid some of the things that can actually be prevented, isn't it, with the app and with information available about these issues.
Yeah. I mean, there's never any guarantee because sometimes bad things happen. You can do everything right. You know, I took my folic acid, I did all the right things, and I had 2 cleft palate babies. You know, sometimes things just happen. But it's about giving mums the knowledge to reduce their chance of having a bad outcome, of maximising the chance of having a good outcome. And one of the key areas that we do this is around maternal mental health. And last year, actually with the Duchess of Cambridge, which was amazing, she is incredible, we launched a series of new films that are all live in Baby Body to support maternal mental health. And that's because mental health is just as important as physical health. And yet it's one of the leading causes of maternal death in the UK. Because women often suffer in silence. They don't understand that what they're experiencing is can be helped, and that the sooner you seek help, the sooner you can get better, and that if you seek help, you will be supported. And that's such an important message. And a bit of health economics, but I won't go into this in any detail, but if any of you are setting up businesses, depending on what you're trying to achieve, if ever you can make an economic case for what you're doing, then it does help people invest. So we're investing in mental health, not because it's only important for mums and babies, but also if we improve the mental health of the nation, we will save the nation money. And we're so grateful to all the mums across the country who allowed our cameras into their lives to share their stories. And I really would encourage you to watch some of the films, whether you've had a baby or not, whether you're planning to or not. I would really encourage you to watch some of the films. And if you only watch one film, I would watch, and maybe you could share it actually, Ramonda. It's the My Mental Health Matters, and it's via the Charity Awards link via Baby Buddy. But if you Google, Ramonda, while I'm talking, charity films and My Mental Health Matters, you can find the link and put it in there.
So
and what's charity films.
Okay.
We are in close contact with lots of the mums we've filmed with and the dads, and we're so grateful that they've opened up and shared their stories to help other people seek support sooner. One example is the wonderful Charisse, who how can I explain? I don't know where to begin. She's a mum featured in the My Mental Health Matters films. She has had a really, really tough time. And she spoke at one of a lecture I was giving, and she's been on a journey. I can't tell you how many times she's met their Royal Highnesses. She was filmed as part of a documentary. And actually the process of being involved has been really empowering for her. And I'm very proud to call her a friend. She's fab. So she was supposed to run the marathon, but damaged her knee at the last minute last year. And I'm not going to show the film now, but if we share the link, then that would be brilliant.
Is it the Charity Film Awards one?
Yeah, called My Mental Health Matters. Or is that what it's called? You found it? Yeah. So for those of you on the line, if you want to, let me know. Have you heard of our Heads Together campaign? It's a UK-wide campaign. It was ran by the Duke and Duchess of, spearheaded by the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Prince Harry, and now Meghan Markle's also involved.
Oh.
And we've chosen 8 charities across the country to be the charity partners, and we're so proud to be one of them. And we're working together. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. Amazing. Well, we'll have to talk about what we can do in Namibia. I've just seen your message come through. I would love to talk to you about that. We can connect offline after my talk. That would be brilliant. So I've ended up, it's quite interesting because I've always shied away. You know, when I was at the BBC, I was behind the camera. Yeah. I was in front of the camera, but little by little, as we've already got the resources and evidence of impact, people have been interested in what we're doing. And it's because of the evidence of impact that the Royal Foundation chose Best Beginnings as one of the 8 charity partners. And I'm so, so proud that the Duchess was involved and launched our Out of the Blue films, and that we were able to shout out about it in Hello Magazine to help people be aware of the work, because the app's free and it's freely available. But if you don't know about it, then mums aren't going to watch it. Now, around the country, in some areas, more than half the mums are using it. And that's because we've done local work in that area. So I'm going to zip forward to share a tiny bit of data, a little bit of data. You can't help me. You take the girl out of science, but you can't take the science out of the girl. And then in the last little bit of the talk, I'm going to share with you some ideas about how you can get involved.
Fantastic, thank you so much.
We actually, this is already out of date because it's going up all the time, but we have about 1,200 mums in the UK downloading the app every week, and it's people, and it's mostly mums. We are noticing how many fathers are using it, even though the app's quite girly, and we are desperately seeking funding to create the dad's version and to take the app to the 3rd birthday. So we'd be delighted for anyone watching this to donate and to support us to reach more mums, but also to support us as we develop towards creating the dad's app. A lot of healthcare professionals download Baby Buddy, and that's mostly midwives and health visitors, so that they can see the film, see the content, and then recommend it with veracity, recommend it really understanding what it has to offer, and almost prescribing, that's their words, not mine, particular films for mums depending on where they are on their journey. And because of all the quality assurance and the editorial board, the professionals have confidence in the app, so they can recommend it knowing that they can trust the information within it. And we are constantly updating it. In fact, only last week we've done a new update on some of the content around maternity and obstetrics. As guidelines change, we have to constantly update. And we're so proud of the feedback we're getting from mums. So it's not just that they're finding it easy to use and easy to understand, but mums are reporting that Baby Buddy's helping them look after their mental and physical health, helping them feel closer to their baby, and really importantly, helping them get more out of appointments. Because I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning I was saying that Baby Buddy isn't instead of anything. It's designed to help mums get more from the system, to directly inform and empower them, but also to support them to get more from the health system. Mums of all ages are using Baby Buddy, but we've got over-representation of young mums, which is great. You know, that's what we set about to achieve. And also in areas where we go in and we work collaboratively with professionals and mums, we see many more downloads, and Leeds is one of our top spots at the moment in the UK. But at the moment we have this constantly looking at this leaderboard. Darlington's at the top with just over 70% of the mums having downloaded it in the last 6 months.
Put London on the map.
Yeah, Darlington, yeah, that shows the country. Now this was 2 weeks ago. It's been a crazy couple of weeks because I'm just back from Cyprus, where we're taking Baby Buddy to Cyprus. But a couple of weeks ago, there was this brilliant behaviour change conference. I was very proud to be there. And there was a whole symposium of Baby Buddy. It was quite interesting. You got a little on your name badge, you know, when you have lapel name badges at conference, you either got a dot to say you were an academic or a dot to say you were industry. And of course, I put my hand up and said, what about charities? Because actually, when it comes to creating digital innovations to drive change, charities are really well placed because we're close to the families or the people that we're looking to support. And I was so proud because we had an academic flying in from Australia who's trying to get funding to take Baby Buddy to Australia, an academic flying in from Cyprus, and then also 2 academics who are part of academic evaluations in the UK. And they shared data at the conference showing that Baby Buddy is increasing bonding and attunement, the bonding between a mother and baby, which is really important and really significant. Anyway, we're on a journey. Life is a journey. We've achieved a lot in the first 10 years, but there's so much more still to do. We want to support more mums across the country to download Baby Buddy. We want to work in more areas, what we call the embedding. And we really want to make more international versions through co-creation. And there's quite an important piece of work. We're doing it at the moment in Cyprus, where you have to review all the content for that different country to make sure it's relevant and suitable. And Cyprus will be doing some refilming, which is great. And there's a bit of funding for that. There's enough funding for that through the European funding.
I have a friend of mine who's a midwife in Cyprus. So
Raimonda, that's fantastic. Okay, well, after this, can we connect her and involve her in the process?
Yes, she just opened a practice in Cyprus. So.
Oh, isn't that funny? Nice small world. It's funny, and I guess that's another lesson in life that I learned actually a while ago. I guess it's probably because I'm just quite a chatty person, but you never know when you talk. You never know what you'll find. So I had a bit of a rubbish journey back from Cyprus a couple of days ago, and I was in a big hurry because I had to get back on Wednesday night because of the Hello magazine event, and it was also a Heads Together event both yesterday. And I ended up chatting with someone in the queue to board the plane. And it turns out that she's a medic that works on the British military base in Cyprus. And she's now going to help get military mums have access to Baby Buddy. She's connecting me to a kind of senior, she's a colonel, but people even more senior. If I hadn't struck up a conversation, it never have happened.
Yeah, of course.
So that's, I guess, a key message is to everyone, don't be afraid to strike up a conversation. You never know what might come of it. You might be able to help someone. I love connecting people, connecting someone here to someone here, and just because it's good for them. But sometimes it comes.
Before we went on live, Alison said, I want to know every single person on this.
I want to get to know. Yeah, I did. And I want to know more. It's lovely getting the messages from Lindsay. And yeah, the internet does make the world small. So what was I going to say? So this was yesterday. Can you believe this was yesterday? I'm like somewhat in shock. I've done a couple of tweets about it because it's important to thank Hello for recognising the work. But that's also, I've got to hold it, and I am holding it very lightly. First of all, the award that I won for Star Mum Campaigner Award, I won yesterday. There were, I was so proud because the other women on either end of this photo, on the far right is Kate Silverton, who's an extraordinary, bright and brilliant news presenter, but she's also doing a master's in neuroscience and child development. On the far left is the editor-in-chief of Hello magazine, Rosie. She's wonderful. And in the middle, I'm obviously there next to Kate on the right, and to my camera left are 5 incredible women, and I'm so proud to be within them and held up next to them, doing work to reduce female genital mutilation, to end the practice, female genital cutting across the world. There were, so many interesting women. Katie Piper in the middle, some of you might have heard of. She was a TV presenter, and she had this awful acid attack. And she has done inspirational work. She's been brave and brilliant, and she had her work recognised by Hello yesterday. So I was nervous to tweet about it because I don't want to do anything that will in any way sort of aggrandise, but I actually have to embrace it and acknowledge it, but really gift the award to everyone in my team. This is what I've done online, and I'm doing it now with you all through this seminar, because the award doesn't belong to any one person. I know they've given it to me because I'm the founder CEO, but actually it's the tireless work of my whole team. Yeah. But it's also everyone that's helped along the way, people that have run marathons for us, people that have put on events, funders as individuals, high net worth individuals, trusts and foundations, together have enabled us to make and sustain and finesse and improve Baby Buddy to support families across the country. Which brings me to the very, sorry,
and I'm just the impact is unbelievable. It's so nice to hear the story. It's unbelievable.
So as I think we've got another I'm supposed to end in the next 10 minutes. Am I right?
Yes.
So what I just wanted to end with, and we can end early, or there might be a few questions, but to let people know that there are so many ways to get involved. We've got the 10K run and the 100K run. There's something in there for pretty much anyone if you can run. The marathon's fully booked up. There aren't places left for that. But also, if anyone's got any corporate contacts or individuals who are up for a bit of a bash, we've got our 10th anniversary dinner happening soon. It's not, as these kind of high-end fundraising events go, it's not the most expensive at all, but it's not cheap. We've got School of Rock coming to perform. We've got an amazing fundraising committee, all of whom have been volunteering to make it all happen. And there are still some tables left, and you can book a table or an individual place from our website. And do spread the word if you've got people in the UK. It's £260 for an individual ticket, or if you take a whole table, it's £2,500, and it's going to be a blast. So, yeah, a little bit more about what's next. This was something I was sharing with our Cypriots a couple of days ago. But I guess I want to draw my talk to an end. I've talked fast. I do tend to talk fast.
That's all right.
I have to work on that. But I'm on a journey, and I would love to invite you, all of you, to join us on that journey. I'd love you to meet my amazing COO, Shabira Papa. She's phenomenal, and the rest of the team. We're a team of only 12 doing the work of at least double that. And we'd love to have volunteers. We'd love to talk about what we could do in your country if you're watching this not from the UK. And whether that's for you, because you might already have another cause that's for you, or not. I want to wish you every success in your endeavour. As women, we need to support each other, and be proud of what we're each achieving and help in any way that we can. So I wish you luck in your venture, but I hope this is not, what do they say in French? They say, à bientôt, not au revoir. To see you soon, not goodbye. Yeah. And my email address is at the bottom there on this slide. So I really do encourage you to make contact with me if you would like. What I'm going to do is shut down my slides and start if anyone has any questions, because I think you've seen enough slides for one Friday afternoon.
Perfect.
Do you have any questions, Raymonda?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much. Like I said, we've been talking about this Beginnings Charity for the last 2 days and leading up to the event, but it's not sort of talking about it, but hearing from you and hearing what you work with behind the scenes, what you're doing to really empower women and young families and give this knowledge. It's amazing. I'm so glad that we have chose this charity to support.
Well, I want to end really by thanking you for supporting us, for choosing us, and to thank everyone that is donating. Because really, we together we can make a difference. Things aren't always easy. Life can sometimes throw curveballs, but the more we can inform and empower families, the best that they can then do for their families. So thank you for being part of the Best Beginnings family.
You make me cry.
And I'm trying not to.
I know it's such an honor to be supporting this charity, honestly, and we had such a great response for this event, and being able to reach so many lives all around the world. You can see ladies joining from all over the world, and others joining in to watch replay as well. Some time difference, and some ladies have to go to work.
Yeah, that's the beauty of technology, is any time of day or night, just like with the Baby Buddy app. But with this summit, people can watch it whenever they want. And really well done to you. I know how much work you put into pulling this summit together. And you've been tenacious, you've been driven, you've reached out to people, and you've brought a lot of people from around the world together. So thank you.
I'm glad. It's been nothing but a pleasure. It has not felt like hard work at all. As I say, if you enjoy doing something that you love, it's not a hard work. So for me, honestly, that's how it felt. It hasn't been a hard work. It's just been a pleasure serving everyone and having everyone involved. So many amazing speakers and just motivational content that have been putting out. It's really amazing. And I hope it creates a lot of impact and lasting impact, things that we've learned and things that inspired us over this journey. And there has been a lot of information shared and a lot of free resources given out, and hopefully connections made as well.
Yeah.
Alison, you're not part of our Women in Business group yet. I welcome you to join us.
I'd love to. I need to understand more about what it involves, but if it allows me to connect with fantastic women around the world and to share ideas and also offer emotional support to each other, because driving change, setting up whether it's as I said at the beginning, whether it's a profit business or a charitable endeavor, it's work, and it's we need to do a bit of self-care and look out for each other and look after each other.
Really talked about everything, building businesses, scaling businesses, our mental health, looking after ourselves, supporting each other, and the summit is, I hope, is just the beginning of a lot of great work and a lot of great connections being made. And thereafter, things hopefully will carry on within our group, and ladies will be connecting. and reaching out. As ladies, if you do need any help or support, make a post in the Facebook group and reach out. If you're building a business or an idea, just simply make a post in a group, and I'm sure one of the ladies will reach out to you back and support you along the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm blowing you a kiss, Ramonda, for this opportunity to share a little bit about what we're doing at Best Beginnings, and for the support that you're giving the charity. So thank you, thank you.
Ladies, if you have any more questions, or if there's anything you'd like to say to Alison, please go now. We'll stick around for a few more minutes.
Yes. Oh, I can see there's a message from Lindsay. So thank you for your lovely message and your words of support. It would be fantastic to understand more about the health system. I mean, what's interesting is I was probably too near the end to start embarking upon a new thing, but the power of technology is that people in many areas, people don't have computers. They'll miss out on computers, but they'll have smartphones. Or sorry, they'll have phones to begin with, and then in some areas smartphones. And so I'd love to explore what might be possible to support families where you are. I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to find out more about what you're doing and to learn from each of you about the journey that you're on, what led you to be part of the Business Summit.
Yeah.
And we can stay in touch afterwards as well.
Amazing. Alison, we shared some links. We left your contact details. The last thing I'll do is just to invite you up in the Facebook group, which I'll send you the link, or the link up here as well.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to also just put up the link to the Best Beginnings website, just there. Is it coming through? There we go, Best Beginnings. If anyone wants to, you can watch all the films from there. And find out more about our work and find out ways to get involved as well, because it's a journey and we're only at the beginning. We're embarking upon our second decade, and hopefully there'll be a chance. I don't know whether you're planning one of these next year or when you're next planning one, but I'd be delighted to come and give an update or answer any particular questions.
Well, last year we did 2 live events where we had amazing speakers, and this year we decided to do a virtual so we could actually reach more women around the world. And hopefully maybe later on this year we might host another live event.
Wow.
So we'll see what happens. It really depends on the ladies who's coming together to be part of it. So,
yeah, no, definitely. Wow. And I have to say the technology is pretty clever. I was worried about could I see the slides, how would it all work? And for those of you that haven't presented, I love this idea that you go in a green room, just like when I do TV interviews. Actually, that's another link we could share, but I can do it afterwards. There's a recent one about Heads Together and Baby Buddy that I did on Sky News, but you go into the green room where you're waiting, preparing, and that's where Ramonda and I sat till it was exactly 4:30 time to start. And I guess that's where we go to after in just a moment when the time is over. But I think someone else is talking now, are they? Or is this the last one of the day?
Up to go live with Katrina at 5:45. I have promised in an email earlier today that we will be inviting some ladies up on the screen to ask a question. So, since we have a few more minutes, I know Lindsay wasn't able to join us live yesterday, so I would like to invite Lindsay to introduce herself on camera if you would like to, or if anyone else would like to pop up on camera and just to say hello. You're most welcome to. So let us know if you would like to just come up on the screen and say hello, and I will invite you up. So we had that during our last session yesterday, but not everyone could join, and so we will try that again towards the end of the day today. So if you ladies would like to just pop up on the screen, just let us know in the chat box. And I'll do that, or otherwise we'll just end the session.
Maybe next time. I'll do one other thing. I'm just going to put my email up there if anyone wants to drop me an email. I'd love to hear from you.
Yes, yesterday.
I always say I'll write it. Oh, that's, yeah, go for it, Lindsay. Just to say hello and just give us a wave. You don't even need to say anything. You don't even need to say anything. I just love to see your face.
I'd love to. If you're happy with it, I would love to invite you because you have really been part of most of the sessions and you've been so engaged with everything. Are you up for it, Lindsay? I'm more than happy to invite you.
You just, if you want to do it, you don't even need to speak. It's if it pushes you out of your comfort zone just to come on screen and give us a wave, we don't even need to speak. We can just literally give each other a wave. But if you don't want to, oh yes, good, you're up for it. Yeah? Okay,
so hopefully it will work for you, and hopefully you're using Google Chrome or a mobile. That's the only browser that supports incompatible. Lindsay, you might not be using Google Chrome to access this. If you do switch over to Google Chrome, we can possibly do that. It says to be incompatible, unfortunately.
Oh no, but you know what? Actually, it doesn't matter if it's not going to work technically. Okay, if you try Chrome, that's cool. But even if it doesn't work, what's cool is that you made that leap of faith from something that you didn't feel confident to do to something that you were willing to up for doing. And that's cool. And I guess I have to say I spent probably too much time pushing myself out of my comfort zone. But that's when some really exciting things can happen. So hopefully we'll get onto Chrome and we'll get to wave with each other. But if for whatever reason that doesn't work, don't worry. The cool thing is that you were up for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, we spoke so much about coming out of your comfort zone during the summit and just taking that step forward. Not being afraid, and it really starts with the small steps, whether going live on Facebook or doing something like this. Just taking a step forward, it makes a difference. When you start to push the boundaries, come out of your comfort zone and just do something different. I don't particularly like Facebook Lives. I don't do that. But I'm quite okay with 2 days of live streaming.
But feel free to drop me an email after, Lindsay, and just tell me a bit about you and what you're doing in Namibia. Are you starting up a venture or just considering it? What led you to be part of this very special global summit? And just thank you for your support. Your words of support about what we're doing at Best Beginnings really makes a difference to me. My team and I, we work so hard, committed to make a difference. And when we hear that people value what we're doing, it's really motivating and helps us help keep us going when the fatigue is really kicking in. But my hunch is that technology is not on our side today to get to wave at you. But I hope we'll get to do that another time.
Fantastic. So, ladies, we're going to switch over to the next session. Lindsay, hopefully we'll get to say hello to you in the next session as well.
So what do I do now? Do I just wave and hang up, or will you hang me up?
I'll just end the session, and that would be awesome. We just have to say goodbyes now.
I just got a lovely message from Anjali. Where are you writing in from, Anjali?
I think Anjali's in London.
Oh, excellent. Well, maybe you might want to join our 10K run. We'll meet for a coffee sometime.
Hopefully, it'll be amazing. Would love to join the 10K run. I did one for the breast cancer a few years ago. So would love to.
Might you be up for it?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So are you all going to sponsor Raimonda if she joins us? How cool. And are you a runner as well, Anjali? Don't worry if you're not. I'm not. I'm a cyclist.
I like working out, but I'm not a runner. I don't particularly like it, but I thought, for charity, I'm happy to push the boundary and push my limits as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for having me, for giving me a chance to tell you a bit about the story behind Best Beginnings, the work that we do, and the ways that people can get involved. Oh, wow! Okay, we've got 2 runners. So if you go to website and just click on go to bestbeginnings.org.uk. You can register today. My team will be so thrilled, and it will be a lot of fun. The energy at the 10K is amazing. It will be a lot. I will. Well, there's 2 events the same weekend, the 10K and the 100K, but I'll be cheering at 1. I won't be running, but I'll exhaust myself with the clapping and the shouting.
Amazing. I'll make sure to sign up when the summit is over. And Anjali, well, hopefully I'll see you there. We'll be training for it soon, I'm sure.
Yes, July will be here in no time. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
And ladies, we'll see you in about 10 minutes with Katrina Young. So we'll see you over. So just stick around, and you'll be automatically directed over to the next session when it starts. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.